Good afternoon, audience. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to yet another product podcast session that can help you navigate your career success. That is by higher education and career community powered by Thinkly. At this community, we intend to connect students, parents, professionals, and educators to facilitate career awareness, career decision making, admissions to the global top 50 universities, etc. Overall, our endeavor is to help you achieve career excellence. Thinkly is a platform that curates great content on various topics such as business, entrepreneurship, health and wellness, culture, and of course, higher education and careers. Hence, I would encourage you to explore this app for more exciting content for your career and personal growth. My name is Vijay Sonawane. I'm a higher education consultant. Through a structured process, I help students to get into the world's top 50 universities with scholarship. And I'm glad to tell you that this year, the highest scholarship that was awarded to one of our students is $72,000. It is said that most of world's challenges aren't due to a lack of data or technical skills. They are emotional and relational. In this VUCA world, stress and complexity are on the rise and well-being and people engagement is falling. And therefore, it is said that emotions drive people, people drive performance. Research link emotional intelligence, which is our topic today, to life success, which includes factors like career, relationship, effectiveness, well being, and quality of life. It's the foundation of healthy people, families, schools, communities, and organizations. I am extremely happy today that we have Dr. Roshni Sodhi with us. She has been a practicing pediatrician for past 23 years, a fellow in neonatology, and a lactation consultant. Apart from her professional intelligence, she helps students and individuals assess and raise their emotional intelligence. She is a certified EQ coach trained by 6 Second, which is the largest EQ network, Mind and Heart Institute, and Equip Kids for the past 8 years. So let us welcome Dr. Roshni and express our gratitude for making herself available for today's session and helping us understand this complex science in the simplest manner. So, Dr. Roshni, heartiest welcome and thank you for your time again.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to be with you. It's nice. We have been associated before also, and I think that time also EQ was the link. And then we had several workshops together. And it's my first time on Thinkly, and I was just exploring the app and I really liked it very much. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, Dr. Roshni, let me start by asking the most basic question. What is emotional intelligence or EQ is all about?
Right. So basically, we all have this impression that emotions is something related to heart and intelligence is something related to the brain. But emotional intelligence, though it sounds like an oxymoron, it's not so. It's a very scientific concept, and it's all about understanding your own emotions, understanding the emotions of others, perceiving them, understanding them, and then regulating them. Because by doing all this, you will have the good outcomes of emotional growth and intellectual growth. So if you go by the scientific definition, it's very difficult to understand the details of it. Let me put it in a very simple way. Emotional intelligence is all about being smart with your feelings. So very smartly handling the feelings and then taking the aid of these emotions to make the life decisions.
Okay, fantastic. So, I mean, you've been studying this science, you've been practicing this science. So, as you have already explained that emotion is being smart with the feelings. But if you can just elaborate and tell us how you handle the whole game of emotional intelligence. So what are those different competencies and different models you work with?
Right. So even before that, let me just take you through this neuroscience of emotional intelligence, because it's a science that has been studied that over last just 3 decades, I would say. It's a very new science that has come up. And that part of neuroscience which deals with brain, for us, everyone is a very mysterious structure, no? Doing so many complex things and complex activities. But in that, the effective neuroscience deals with the feelings part. So if you just go to the evolutionary basis a little bit to give you the perspective of the whole thing. So as the evolution of human beings was taking place, for that matter, life was evolving. Initially, we just had the basic functional brain where the breathing, the circulation, the reflexes, and these parts were important. Then over million years, the evolution took place, and then the limbic system, which is the emotional brain, came into existence. So this also, many lower animals and lower beings also have this brain. But then over another few million years, when the human brain developed the neocortex, the thinking brain, and that raised our levels to be more better than the others in the evolutionary science. So there, the thinking brain or the neocortex came into being. But nevertheless, emotional brain has always been there. And these connections, the neuronal connections that are there between the thinking brain and the emotional brain, the neurotransmitters that come out from the emotional brain that affect your thinking, that cloud your consciousness sometimes and helps you to make decisions and those things. The learning and memory, which is very much in the emotional brain. So a lot of science is there behind this, the whole structure of emotional intelligence. And that's why no wonder so many people are getting Nobel Awards for neuroscience. In fact, that is the field that is getting the most awards because of the newer researchers that are coming up. So basically, there are different people who have been studying it, and emotional intelligence has grown in a big way. There are many models that you will find once you go into searching and researching about it. But I, as have been trained from 6 seconds, use the very simple model of KCG model of the 6 seconds. So this model helps us to manage ourselves or divide the competencies into 3 parts. It's about knowing yourself, how well you are aware about yourself, the self-awareness part, and then about the self-management. Once you've understood knowing yourself, choosing yourself. So how do you choose to behave? How do you manage yourself? How do you deal with these situations? That is the self-management part. And the G, the giving yourself part, that tells about how you relate yourself with the society outside. Because at the end of the day, we are all social beings and no one is going to stay alone. We are going to interact with each other. So the KCG model, the 3 pursuits, if you see, it's about knowing yourself, choosing yourself, and giving yourself. And each one of them has various competencies. So 8 basic competencies that are there. Over the course, we will be discussing that. But on the basis of this, and having a knowledge of these competencies, or as you say, the skills of emotional intelligence, I think we can be equipped enough to deal with any situation.
Okay. So, because you mentioned that learning and emotional intelligence has some connection. So, could you please elaborate on that part and tell our audience, tell our student that how, being emotionally intelligent, how they can increase the chances of they becoming smarter in their studies, or they can have or achieve a good academic performance.
It's very, very important, sir, because the various study skills that you require whenever a person is trying to achieve academic success, if we talk only about the academic part also. So this success, हम बोलते हैं कि भाई IQ अच्छा है, but IQ अच्छा है, even then you require to have certain study skills in place. Like the person, the student will have to plan out his goal for the year. He'll have to plan out this week what I have to complete. He should have a daily schedule in place. So this time management part, the goal setting part, then he should have that motivation na, कि मैं करना है मुझे, I have to do these things, I have to complete this task. Otherwise, most of the times it's like, just for the sake of exams, we are studying. But if it comes from within that I need to complete this task this way at this time, so that's an intrinsic motivation. That is a EQ skill. Goal management, time management, these are certain skills that the person who is emotionally intelligent will be able to learn. And then, if you would have noticed, any child, whoever is listening to this, suppose the child is not in a good mood, or he has been scolded by the teachers, or he has seen some dispute between the parents that's taking place, would his mind be in the right place to learn something new or to grasp something new? No, never. Because the emotions that are coming, which are real in the form of neuropeptides, are clouding his thinking brain. And the thinking brain is required to do the comprehension, the thinking, the memory, and everything. That's why it's very important to be in a good learning environment, to have that environment under our control, the emotions in place. Only then we'll be able to study well, remember well, and perform well. So academic success is very closely related to emotional intelligence. So is the reason that many schools have now taken up social emotional learning as the curriculum part. So it's like, if you see the CBSE also, internationally also, there are so many things that they include it as a part of the curriculum. You need to learn right from your preschool certain skills, age appropriate skills of the emotional intelligence, be it emotional literacy, be it motivation, be it navigating your emotion, regulating emotions, because otherwise children just go haywire sometimes, throwing things, banging things. All those things can be controlled by learning about controlling your emotions. So these different age appropriate skills can be taught right from childhood, and the best part is they are learnable even in adulthood. So even today, if someone wants to learn these skills, it's very much possible. Even you and me can improvise on our emotional intelligence skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what I understand, I mean, the takeaway for me is that if I have emotional intelligence skills, even and if I'm a student, and even if there's some distractions are happening, I can very well switch off from those distractions and concentrate on my given task,
Right.
right?
The focus part,
The
the
focus part.
attention part, they are also very closely related, because that's with today's world, so many distractions that are coming everywhere. You have your phone in hand, which you are using day and night. So every time there is a beep, the student is going to look at that. Kya hua? Kiska message aaya? But a student who is emotionally intelligent knows that this thing is distracting me and taking me away from this path. So he'll definitely put his phone on DND for the 1 hour that he has planned to study. And he's going to fix up his time that after this time, I'm going to come. And no one is stopping him from being with his friends or being with the media also. But let it be under his control. That's important. This part, the emotional intelligence will teach him.
Correct, correct, correct. Now, since we have started, talking on the student, and then I would like to dig down a little more on this application as regards to student. Okay. And so to start with, I would like to ask you that if you look at today, and I also deal with a lot of students, okay, as young as the ninth grader, and I came across with a lot of complaints, so to say, okay, from their parents about the screen time. It's not about that beep which is coming in, but students are constantly on social media, on the Insta, on the chat, WhatsApp, etc. And it is so overwhelming for them that they lose a track of time, they lose their goal, they lose their priority, okay, and as a result of which they're also becoming antisocial in the sense that they would like to, they're okay with their own company, okay. Now, considering this as a case, how you think that how can it be handled or approached with the help of emotional intelligence?
Right. So here, sir, what happens is our kids today are trying to get some type of, I would say, what does screen give them actually? Let's go through that angle. So
uh,
why are they more towards screen? Because it gives them a couple of things like instant gratification. They are wanting something to eat, and the mobile helps them to order it on Zomato immediately. We used to wait for particular occasions to get new clothing. Now anything that's Mintra ki sale, it's flashing up on your mobile, and then you want to take it up. So all these things are the distractions that are coming in the form of screen in a student's life. Second important thing is today's kids, or for that matter, I would say I wouldn't blame the kids alone, the adults as well, are looking for social media for recognition and connections. But these are not the true connections. They feel
Mm.
that if they get n number of likes on their photo that has been put up, that is the time when they are, something that is an achievement for them. But is it true? Is it really so? In time of need, if this child or you or me, any one of us needs really a friend, would it be someone virtually, or would you want someone live to come there in your life to be with you, to help you, to support you in your difficult and distressing times? So this concept, the children are not understanding that if you have 100 followers, that doesn't mean that you are socially, I would say, a great person who's a good friend for that matter. So these certain factors are the thinkings that today's children are having, which needs to be changed in concept. Another important aspect here is that it gives them that dopamine, that reward feeling whenever they do something. Suppose video game, suppose some movie, something that's coming and they're looking at it. It gives them that feeling of goodness. No one wants to stay away from that good feeling. So that feel good factor, they need to find in alternative things. Like they have to pat themselves also when they are completing a chapter. When they feel, yes, by doing this also I have achieved something, it's then that he'll be able to dissociate from other things. So these concepts of achievement, of happiness that have changed now is what is dragging the children away, and more of screen time, getting all their answers from there. Halanki, if we as professionals in this field see, we know that it is only worsening the case scenario. Like children are
Mm.
having, becoming very impulsive, very aggressive because of this excessive screen that is there, right? They are not able to control. They want everything instantly. Halanki, ye hona kaisa chahiye? There is a skill called delayed gratification, again, a part of emotional intelligence skills. So you should be able to wait for the right time and the right thing to happen. Everything should not be instantaneous. Because of that, people are becoming more reactionary rather than waiting and becoming more responsive. And to be successful, it's very important to be more in control of the situation, like being responsive. Think, stop, think, act, rather than immediately react to something. That damages the scene. Sometimes the relationships are damaged because of such type of behaviors. So this impulsiveness that is coming up is more because of the screen time and the internet usage that is there. Because after all, our brain, sir, if you and me know that, the way the sensory inputs are coming now, our poor brain is not that evolved to deal with so many sensory inputs in one day. Our grandparents used to get that inputs over a whole year, and we are getting it in a day. So something is
Correct.
going to damage, right? So something is going to be heavy work for this brain, and that's why all this stress and all this discomfort that is there in the lives of everyone today. I feel that is one of the biggest reasons, the contribution by the internet and all this rough usage of screen and all this data that's coming in.
Yeah, yeah, very important because it is impacting. I mean, we don't see it directly associated with that, but uh, I think your overall well-being is getting impacted as a result of which students are sleeping less. And when you
Mm,
sleep less, it totally damage your neuron growth, your intellect growth.
correct.
Everything is that is happening, and that is not being realized. Correct? Uh,
When they see screen, especially this is a recommendation that comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics, that at least for 2 hours before your sleep time, you should be
hmm.
away from any screen, be it television, be it mobile, be it iPad. Because we all know the rays that are coming, that causes the delay in the melatonin production, which is required for the onset of sleep. So naturally, this child, the adolescents especially, they tell us, "Na neend hi nahi aati, we are not able to sleep, we are not able to sleep." But the reason is because we are seeing so much screen and so much that blue light that's coming in, it's not letting our natural circadian rhythm to work. So that's why, and that sleep is so very important for you, that the whole day that you have studied, you require that to go into your memory. That won't go in there in case you're not sleeping well. So everything is so interconnected. Again, if you want to be successful, study well, memorize well, revise well, all these things, you need to have a good sleep.
Yeah, and is it because of that that sometime what happens is, especially during the exam period, student, there's a term called as a night out. That they'll be awake whole night, they'll study hard,
Yeah.
and when they actually go into the exam hall, they
Blank out.
suddenly goes blank out.
Correct.
Yeah.
That so very much happens because the brain also it's I would say it's like a computer. Human brain is also a computer, and it also requires that stoppage where everything has to go back into the memory system, right? So it can't be just functioning every time. And we feel that sleep matlab hum so gaye, time waste ho gaya. Not at all. That sleep is a time where everything is getting assimilated and then it's going into the right place. Then you should know where to retrieve it from at the time of the exams, right? So that if you don't put it inside the memory, how will it come out? And many children, what they do to stay awake, they use a lot of caffeine and a lot of coffee drinks in the night, thinking कि हाँ भाई इससे हम जागे रहेंगे और आज हम fresh रहेंगे and हम पढ़ पाएंगे. Now these again, as a health professional, I can tell you this that अगर person बहुत सारा कॉफी पीता है तो instant तो आपको वो instant चीजें मिल जाएंगी. But in the long term, it's going to be a diuretic. It's going to wake you up. It won't let you get that onset of sleep again. And again, you will be going to the washroom in the night. These problems will happen. And then dependency will come on that. And you won't be able to do things which are naturally possible to be done. And you become dependent. So such changes that are taking place can be avoided
Yeah,
if we are more conscious
correct,
and
correct,
aware.
correct, correct. But actually, रोशनी जी, कि कुछ ऐसे रिमार्क्स या कुछ सोशल मीडिया से कुछ ऐसा भी कंटेंट आता है, कुछ मोटिवेशनल गुरुज होते हैं, वो भी एज यू राइटली पॉइंटेड आउट, दे आर ट्राइंग टू से दैट आपको क्यों सोना है इतना देर. That is actually impacting. So that's a very wrong message,
Yes.
that, oh, someone sleep only for 4 hours, 5 hours. And, but no, actually, you require sleep. The neuroscience suggests that you require sleep. Yeah.
Now, sir, if you're talking about sleep, even our adolescents, I would say we are a society also are responsible because our adolescents require anywhere between 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And where are we providing it to them? All our kids who are in 11th standard, 12th standard have such a tough regime for working that they hardly, put themselves into 6 hours sleep slot. ये बहुत हो गया, 6 घंटे बहुत हो गए. But everyone is different again. Some may be fresh after 8 hours of sleep, some may require 9 hours. So person who's again more conscious and aware of self awareness, he'll be able to judge कि मैं इतने घंटे सोने के बाद I'm fresh. So this is my amount of sleep that I require. And when he's preparing his timetable, he should definitely put that aspect there कि इतने घंटे तो मुझे सोना ही है.
Correct, correct, correct. Very, very important that you need to check your own pattern, right?
Right.
And that's very critical. May not be. I mean, for a few, it may be 6 hours. For you,
Yeah.
it may be 7 hours. Yeah.
7 hours.
Okay. So we'll definitely come to that part. That pressure to perform. But before that, I think you talked about instant gratification, and yes, uh, people know about it. They know I need to be little patience, but still it doesn't really gets into the system, right? And therefore, can you give us some case study on instant gratification? I think that marshmallow,
Oh,
uh,
beautiful one.
that
That's one
case
of my
study, I think
favorite ones.
can really drive a message of instant gratification. If you can just elaborate on that.
Correct, correct. Sure, I would love to.
Yeah.
So, this marshmallow test was conducted several years back, and you can even see it on YouTube. The ones who are interested, it's a very interesting thing. There's a book also that has come on that. But the concept was this that preschoolers were made to sit in one room. The teacher used to get one child into the room and offer that child a marshmallow. The plate was put in front of the child, and a marshmallow, which is a sweet that they all love to have at that age, was put in front of them. So something very attractive is given to them. But it came with an instruction. The teacher would say, see, I'm going out. I'll come back in some time. If you wait till I come back, then I'll give you 2 marshmallows. But in case you have it right now, you can have just this one. So now it was a big challenge for these children to control something that is there in front of them, and that thing they have to wait so that they get another reward. So if you see this study, it was so beautifully depicting that the ones who were able to control the impulse, in long term, they were better achievers. They were more successful. On the contrary, The ones who were not able to control, or who were instantly, wanting to just take it even before the instructions were over, some were just putting it in the mouth. So these people had more chances of aggression, aggressiveness, and all these things in later life. So it's such an important skill, which if we, and best part I'm telling you about EQ skills is they're all learnable. So anytime you decide this is something I want to do, you can learn it. So it's so important that if parents are aware, they can teach their children this instead of rather, abhi manga, abhi provide kiya, abhi manga, abhi provide kiya. If they can make them wait, make them work hard for it, maybe they'll be better beings later in life. So that was a very interesting case study, and I would really recommend everyone to go through that on YouTube as a small picture. It's a very beautiful thing.
Correct. Good. That thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's really really important. Yeah. So as we are discussing the challenges, related to students, I would like to ask you a few more challenges and elaborate on that and how you can help in this case. So yes, of course, we are talking about pressure to perform. See, just few days back, ICSE board results came in. There's
Mhm.
so many students they score more than 90%. Okay, so today, if you are scoring, say 75%, 80%, which is a decent performance, unfortunately, you don't get admission in a good college in Mumbai, or to that matter, Pune, or to that matter in your city, right, Aurangabad. I mean, so there's a constant pressure to perform on children. Like everyone have their, I mean, they are unique, as we always say that they always have their own skills, their own liking, interests towards all of these. How can they, and as a result of which, they have a pressure to handle failures, or they sometimes they may not in a position to handle failures, as a result of which there's a constant cases of anxiety, depression,
Very true.
sleepless night, and all that, and again that results into focus, attention, etc. So and how do you handle this, and how you recommend, or how you here along with the students, what message would you like to give it to our parents?
Oh, yeah. So, sir, here, if you're talking about this competitiveness that is coming into our lives and the stress and anxiety that it is bringing along with it as a side effect, I think yes, today the students need to learn certain strategies where they can come out of failures. I always say the parents should teach their children how to fail. Everyone can learn how to be successful, happy. Everyone enjoys in the time of success. But what to do at the time of failure, how to deal with the failure, is something that is our responsibility as adults to teach our children. So here again, it's a type of your attributional style. The way your brain is thinking, the way your brain is trained to think, that decides how you perform at the time of a failure, or at the time of a stress, at the time of any catastrophe, right? So there is this rule that says A plus B is equal to C. So A is any adversity that is coming into place in front of your life. Anyone can have, everyone's life has something or the other that's going wrong. So that A is adversity. B is your belief system. And C is the consequence. So the equation is A plus B is equal to C. If you want to change your consequence or the C part, all you can do is change the B. That is your belief system.
Belief
Rather
system.
than the adversity, that can happen to anyone. So this B part, the belief system, I would say, is the way your brain is trained, the way you're thinking. So here I could give you an example here again of a thinking style. Someone may be having a pessimistic thinking style. Someone may be having an optimistic thinking style. Again, training them in optimism is one of the emotional intelligence skills that can do wonders, and it's one of my favorite ones. So let me give you an example. Suppose there's a person, there are two children in the same class who have failed in maths this time, right? So one of them would say, oh my God, I always fail in maths. So he is putting permanence to his failure. The way his brain is telling him is हमेशा ही मेरे साथ ऐसा होता है. That's permanence.
Correct.
On the other hand, the other child who has also failed says, अरे यार इस बार मैं मैथ्स में फेल हो गया. So he's giving a temporary feeling to that same failure. right? So permanence against temporary. Second way, this person says, the first one says, मैथ्स छोड़ो यार, हर ही सब्जेक्ट में मैं फेल होने वाला हूं. So he's putting it pervasive in all fields of life. He feels he's a failure. While this one says, मैथ्स में फेल हो गया लेकिन इंग्लिश में इससे तो बेटर आएंगे, हिंदी में इससे तो अच्छे आएंगे, right? So his way of thinking is isolated. This failure is isolated. It is not in all fields of life. And the third and the final aspect of this way of thinking is, this one says, कुछ नहीं कर सकता, powerless. So I'm not able to do anything. मेरे साथ हमेशा ऐसे होगा, कुछ नहीं किया जा सकता है. The other one says, he keeps the energy with himself. So he says, इस बार मैं फेल हो गया हूं, लेकिन लेट मी सी व्हाट आई कैन डू. मैथ्स के लिए क्या मैं ट्यूशन लगा लूं, क्या मैं वो बच्चे की हेल्प लूं, क्या मैं एक्स्ट्रा सम्स करूं, मैं किस तरीके से ये सिचुएशन से बाहर आऊं. So if you see these two children who are in the same adversity, but their belief system is different. This one is having PPP, permanence, pervasiveness, and powerlessness, while the other one is having temporary, isolated, and the energy is with me. So PPP triangle versus TII triangle. So just by the way you're believing, the way your brain is thinking, and this thinking style kahan se aayega? It will be when you're growing up, when you're facing situations. This is when we hear such talks from our kids or from our friends, that should be a warning sign. Are iska thinking style kuch alag hai. Let's talk him out of this. That's the way we can help these children. So if their thinking style is changing, definitely वो competitiveness और वो failure को deal करने के लिए better equipped रहेंगे. And second aspect, acutely अगर कुछ होता है तो we should always have our stress management techniques or strategies in place. तो ये हमेशा सिखा के रखना है बच्चे को. ब्रीदिंग के बारे में हो गया, मेडिटेशन वर्ड अगर बोलो ना तो लोग बहुत मिसगाइड हो जाते हैं कि भाई एक जगह बैठना है और सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के हमें करना. बट मेडिटेशन इज नथिंग, आई वुड से माइंडफुलनेस. माइंडफुलनेस मतलब आपको बस प्रेजेंट में रहना है, अपने ब्रीदिंग की तरफ आप सिर्फ ध्यान दो, जो थॉट आ रहे हैं आने दो, but just concentrate on your breathing. It's going in, it's coming out. What that does, it gets you in the present, and that helps you to calm yourself in a big way. So that technique, then the 6 seconds pause technique, my favorite one again. So these techniques, if we teach these strategies to our children, that how do you move out of a situation. Suppose you're sitting in the examination hall and someone says I'm blank out, अब मैं क्या करूं. वहां तो उठ के आप मुझे बोल रहे हो कि एक्सरसाइज करो, मैं नहीं कर सकता हूं. आई एग्री, यू कांट गेट अप एंड मूव एट दैट प्लेस. यू मे नॉट गेट अ ग्लास ऑफ वाटर ऑल्सो टू ड्रिंक एट दैट प्लेस, बट योर ब्रेथ इज विद यू. So why not just breathe deep for some time, and you will see that your emotions are settling. Give them that few seconds, and once they settle, your thinking brain will start working, and that will definitely help you to make better decisions and start attempting your paper there. So ये जो strategies है ना, ये उस time पर नहीं सिखाई जा सकती. These are something to be learned earlier. So that's why we say it's a good idea to put it in the curriculum of the children, or the parents to make it a point to teach their children such strategies and keep it handy, so that when the situation comes, hope not, but if it comes, we are able to deal with it.
Wow, you so beautifully you have explained, how you can exercise optimism under such situations, because your beliefs can really make or break you. Yeah. And I think just for everyone's information, there's just on this optimism, there's a whole new science called as growth mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, which is being researched. There's an author called Carl Dweck, who has written such a beautiful book on growth mindset. It's all about fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And in case if you have that kind of a thought process currently, I'd say it's a good idea to read that book. Okay, or maybe contact Dr. Roshni for that matter. Okay, okay. Now, so fantastic. So you talked about how do you handle your belief system, and the way you have put it that actually in a format, A plus B is equal to C. If you want to change your C, you need to change your B. Fantastic. Very good. Very good. Now, Roshni, let me ask you that especially the area where I work, right? A career, okay, and when it comes to higher education, a lot of students, they go to hostel, or they go to other cities, or they go to the other countries, right? Where you may or may not have the significant others or the required emotional support in person available to you. I mean, I know your child has gone to Pune to
Mhm.
study, right? Mine is in Canada. My daughter was in Bangalore. So it's very overwhelming, I would say, a process. And how do you handle, in such cases, right? And this is again applicable to both students as well as parents. Okay. Sometimes students suddenly see that, oh my God, I'm a free bird. Okay. I have no one to monitor and I can really fly free. Okay. So we also have certain such cases, that they just um, set themselves free and maybe do not really understand their responsibilities. Okay, so how would you help us in this in handling such kind of situations?
Correct. So I know, sir, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing wherever relationships come into play, especially when you're talking about separation here. The first thing that everyone is facing from the secure and safe environment of home, the person is moving out. So they say the challenges are something that teach you how to live better. So I think first thing is we should not get frightened of this कि ऐसा हो रहा है हमारी life में. Believe in yourself because you have been trained well enough by your parents, by your teachers, by the situations that you will be able to deal. For that, your I would say the value system has to be in place. That is something that guides you, stops you, and even moves you forward. So one of the skills, even in our the 6 seconds model that I was talking about, the KCG model, is pursuing noble goals, and along with it comes empathy. So if we are good in these two skills, so I think the person will be able to deal. Empathy matlab kya? That person is able to understand what the other person is feeling, what the other person is going through. So suppose you are going to take such a decision and that thought comes, मेरे पापा को क्या लगेगा, मेरी मम्मा को क्या लगेगा? If that thought comes to your mind, if you feel for them, then something will stop you from taking a wrong decision there. Same way, the value systems that you put in your mind. Suppose it's very common that in adolescence we see that peer pressure is there. When you are in a group, you want to be noticed in the group, you want to be a part of the group, and suppose everyone is having a small drink there, and you feel कि भाई अब if I don't do that, I am not included here. I don't feel inclusive. So for that pressure, अरे तू नहीं लेता है क्या, तू नहीं ले सकता है क्या, people say that. And then this person who's not having a good value system at the back of his mind may just easily go and fall for such traps. But if this person has been taught to say no, when to say no, that's a very important skill, I would say. You should know how to say no. You should know how to move away from a situation if you're not able to fit into that situation. And you will be able to do that if you keep that goals. Why I am here, what am I here for? If this child who's separated from home remembers that with all the efforts I've been sent here to study so that my future is good, so that my career is made, if that prime value is in his mind, if he has seen the efforts and the care and the love of his parents, the upbringing, the family model, we say the family is the role model for any child. If he has seen all those things, then definitely this person will fight that situation and maintain his values and wouldn't be able to go here haywire, I would say.
So important. I think this is where you say, that's it's a family also require that reflection that, what kind of value system are we imbibing in our children? Yeah.
Yeah,
And if there's any sort of shortfall or there is any mismatch, it's time that, you get into that value system, right?
very
Very,
true.
very important. Yeah. And I know, yeah, that peer pressure can again can burden you that, to get into or fall under, such kind of vices,
Right.
very importantly. So thank you. I think this was the case or other case studies for student, and out of our audience, we also have some adults, okay, working population, and there also there's no dearth of challenges.
Oh, of course.
Okay, right. I mean, if you look at today's workplace, uh, I think it's a melting pot of emotions, right? Again, you have a great responsibility to provide your family. We are in a never before kind of an work era. Again, as I talked about hookah situation, it's more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. We
Hmm.
have new disruptive technologies are coming up. Geopolitical things are disrupting even the business side of it. And as a result of which, there's a constant job insecurities. Okay, I mean, even no matter what and how good a performer you are, but if the mandate comes, you may have to leave. But again,
Right.
as I said, if we apply optimism there, that may be a temporary situation, right? It's
Right. Correct.
but even handling that, so job insecurities are driving people crazy, and especially in the era of AI. Okay, again, there also pressure to perform. Okay, handling deadlines. Okay, that every day you have a new deadline, you have a customer demand. Okay, on top of that, you have work politics. Okay, you are always juggling between work-life balance. You have extended work hours. Okay, you are not in a position to give time to your families, not able to take care of them, even if they are going through certain distress, etc. Uh, because of the work politics, there's a conflict resolution comes into play. You have to also work in collaboration. Okay, if you are a leader, you also need to exercise the right leadership style. Okay, so and that is taking a toll on their well-being. That is taking a toll on their stress. Um, so how can emotional intelligence can play an important role, and how they can improve or enhance their emotional intelligence?
Right. So, sir, emotional intelligence at workplace has come up as a big concept. Nowadays, I mean, there are two aspects to it again. The person who's involved always has his own personal emotional intelligence that he can work on, which will benefit him at his professional level and personal life level. But as a workplace team, also emotional intelligence can be incorporated into the system. Because today we all know it's a time, if you see the World Economic Forum also demands that what are the top 10 skills that are required for the people to be successful today and what are the future careers. There also we find collaboration, we see creativity, we see how these almost 8 out of those 10 skills are emotional intelligence skills. So it, if it's not there, if it is missing, definitely all these things that you talked about, the disruptions at the workplace are going to be there. So if we want to change it, how do we go about doing it? Right now, today, even people who are using EQ as the test to appoint certain new staff, because they want people, they have valued it कि अगर जिसमें इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस ज्यादा है, बिकॉज पहले क्या होता था, आपने ये डिग्री ले ली, योर IQ लेवल इज हाई, यू आर अ टॉपर, and you are very sure that you're going to get a job. Yes, getting into the job may be your IQ's business, but staying in that job, performing in that job, growing in that job is the work of EQ, right? Because it
So
is,
true.
yeah, it's just not the technical aspect of things that gives you success. If you have a technical mind also, you put a project in place, it's not a one man show. You need to have a team. How you deal with those team members, how is the person to person relationship, how is your team, the what is the environment, because 10 hours to they are working with you, and it's calculated na 90,000 hours of our life we are into working. वर्कप्लेस में अगर हमने इतना लाइफ स्पेंड करना है, so we all want it to be a place where we are happy to be in. That's why first of all we say वो passion वाला job choose करो so that you enjoy doing it. Then the team that you're working with is so important. We have seen so many times now. I being a pediatrician also, just because of my EQ branching, many people in the corporate sector come for their personal counselings, and you won't believe, sir, the people who are at very good posts, super pays, and good, everything is good, but they come with these complaints, यार मेरे से काम ही नहीं होता, ये मेरा सुनता ही नहीं है, मेरा ये प्रॉब्लम आता है, and I'm not able to get work done, and there's so much load, I don't know how to handle this stress. So what's the point of that IQ if you're not able to be happy? Because at the end, you all are working, we all are working for success and happiness. And what are the factors which define your success and happiness? I think it's relationships, it's a quality of life that you're living, it's your well-being. आप physically and mentally अगर healthy रहे, then you're happy. And it's how good you're giving, कितना effective हो आप. So that is going to decide how successful you are. So all these factors in the workplace, if it has to be there, you should be having these qualities where you're able to recognize your patterns. आप समझ रहे हो कि हमारी टीम में क्या हो रहा है. When this is happening, this is failing. When this is happening, this is working for us. It can be done at a personal level, it can be done at a group level. So when this particular patterns are recognized, then you work on that कि भाई ये pattern work कर रहा है कि नहीं work कर रहा है हमारे लिए. If we are not seeing success with that pattern, then you go into the depth. What are the alternatives? The choice theory. What else can be done? So all this the team can give their inputs. हम कैसे काम कर सकते हैं? Then you decide what are the costs and what are the benefit. So cost benefit analysis, short term, long term analysis, and without saying emotional and rational, both inputs come into that being. Because अगर किसी को सही लग रहा है ना कोई चीज, तब वो उसको passionately करेगा. And that सही लगना का feeling is emotional. उससे outcome आएगा, ये सोचने का feeling is rational. So always there has to be a balance between emotionality and rationality, be it workplace, be it personal life. So now that we are talking about workplace, so this is the way you create your projects. This is the way the team works together. There has to be trust in that team. There has to be accountability in that team. There has to be prioritization. There has to be entrepreneurship. All these qualities a person who is a leader or who is in the team should be having. Only then the project is going to be successful. So everywhere again, यहाँ भी emotional intelligence is, I would say, incorporated inside in the team also. So that will bring the success at workplace also.
Correct, correct, correct. I mean, you really explained it so beautifully that how it can be applied. Okay, fine. I mean, I think you mentioned about the assessment part of it that you can actually assess like about it. Uh, okay, fine. We'll come to that. But before that, I just would like to ask you, suppose if I don't go for that assessment and if I do my self-evaluation, okay, so what are the sign which can tells me that okay, fine, I am good at certain, what are those traits, or what are those signs which I can give me assurance that which can give assurance that okay, fine, I'm good at this part of it. Yeah,
Right.
and someone wants to really go and understand it very clinically and seek help. Yes, of course, that is available. But what are those signs, which can give us the assurance that okay, fine, I have a okay or a good or whatever emotional intelligence.
Right. So even without going into that, so let's just think about the people around us, the people in our life. So अगर आप किसी person को देखो, there are some people जिनसे आपको ना थोड़ा repel होता है कि we don't want to be in the company of these people. Why? Ask yourself that question, why? Because maybe there are certain traits in that person which you're not able to accept. Or let's not go to the negative, let's go to the positive. Why do you get attracted? कि ये person बहुत अच्छा है. What are the qualities in that person that you admire? Usually if I ask anyone ना, उसमें क्या अच्छा लगता है? उसका patience बहुत है, उसमें tolerance बहुत है, वो बात बहुत अच्छे से करते हैं, वो बहुत अच्छे से समझाते हैं. So these are the qualities that people are looking for. No one says उसका maths बहुत अच्छा है, उसका science बहुत अच्छा है. Workplace में ये चीजें कम आती है. Yes, technical knowledge we all value, but usually what comes into social interactions are more of EQ skills. So अगर मैं बैठूं, if I want to sit and assess myself, how am I as a person? Let me see what people say about me is my approach first. This is a good way of telling. हम इसको ना रेटिंग देते हैं 360 रेटिंग कि मम्मी मेरे बारे में क्या बोलती है, मेरा फ्रेंड मेरे बारे में क्या होता है. 5 लोगों को आप छोटे छोटे क्वेश्चंस पूछ लो, what they say about you. That will be a good assessment for you sitting there कि भाई what am I? बिकॉज वी फील समटाइम्स हम कुछ हैं, लेकिन हम अपने आप को प्रेजेंट जब करते हैं तो सामने वाले को क्या परसीव हो रहा है ये भी पता होना चाहिए. दैट इज वन वे ऑफ असेसिंग योरसेल्फ. सेकेंडली इज सेल्फ अवेयरनेस. खुद ही अपने आप से बात करें. एम आई हैप्पी? एम आई पीसफुल? एम आई हैविंग स्ट्रेस? एम आई एबल टू स्लीप वेल? एम आई गिविंग माई फुलेस्ट? Am I having a plan in place? Is there something I'm looking forward to? अपने आप से बात करें कि this is self talk. Where am I? Where do I stand today? And what I need to change? How do I plan to change it? Because no change comes without desire. अगर आप मुझे बोलोगे कि मुझे इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस सिखा दो, मैं आपको लेक्चर दे दूंगी, लेकिन जब तक आप अप्लाई नहीं करेंगे अपनी लाइफ में, तब तक वो चेंज नहीं आने वाली है। ये एक ड्रॉबैक बोलूं या एक पार्ट है इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस ट्रेनिंग का, कि टिल द पर्सन डिजायर्स टू चेंज, द चेंज डजंट कम। सो ये अपने आप से जब हम बात करेंगे, दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई वांट टू चेंज इन माई सेल्फ, आई फील द पीपल आर नॉट वेरी कंफर्टेबल विद मी, आई वांट टू चेंज माई सेल्फ। सो ये सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन जब आता है, व्हेन यू टॉक टू योरसेल्फ एंड फाइंड आउट how is my day, what is happening with me, how many friends I'm having, how many people I'm working with, what is my output, am I giving my fullest in work, how is my physical health, how is my mental health, how do I feel, am I satisfied with my life, what's my quality of life? These are the questions when you ask yourself, I think you get a fair idea, because हम बाकियों से तो झूठ बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन खुद से झूठ नहीं बोल सकते ना, so we get to
Correct,
know कि हम
correct,
क्या हैं,
correct.
so we get a fair idea about where we stand.
Correct, correct, correct. Very true. I mean, that's a sort of, these are the data points, these are the data points which can tell you who's who, I mean, what is what. Yeah, fantastic. Very good, very good. I think you put it in a very innovative way. Okay, fine. So let me now have something more from you on those assessment. So suppose I go through that assessment. What is that I come to know about?
सो सर देर आर, अगर आपको EQ टेस्ट करना है किसी को, कि मुझे मेरा EQ टेस्ट करना है, I wouldn't say it is a hard and fast rule that everyone should go through the process. First of all, that's my personal belief again. Second thing, there are, because why I say that, the reason behind that is I feel EQ is something that everyone should learn. So of course assessments give you a baseline कि आप कहाँ से शुरू कर रहे हो, and हमारे assessments में ना हम बहुत बार strengths की तरफ ज्यादा देखते हैं rather than weakness की तरफ, and we use those strengths to pick up our weakness and gain on each skill. So इसलिए अगर कोई नहीं भी करे तो भी train हो जाए ये सारे skills में, I think it's worthwhile because it's for everyone. It's not for the people who are having trouble only. It's for each and every one of us, emotional intelligence skills. Nevertheless, वी हैव दिस टेंडेंसी कि हाँ, अगर मुझे पता चल जाए कि भाई हीमोग्लोबिन कितना है तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा कि भाई हाँ इसको एनीमिया है, इसको मैं डोज दे दूं इतना। सो वो मेंटालिटी तो हमारी है एज प्रोफेशनल्स। सो इफ वी गो फॉर द EQ टेस्टिंग, देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ टेस्ट दैट आर अवेलेबल। देयर आर सम सेल्फ रिपोर्ट्स, like the organization that I have been trained from is 6 seconds, which is having a 6 seconds assessment report, which is a self report. So it's a psychometric test, questionnaires being given to the person who wants to attempt. It is for 7 years to 17 years का एक youth version होता है, and उससे बड़ों का adult version होता है. So ये लोग जब वो test करते हैं, so the questionnaire you need to sit down and peacefully solve, write the answers, yes no वाले answers होते हैं, where you're writing those answers truthfully. Right? So we have methods of judging that also कि आपने truthfully लिखा है, but वो truthfully answer किए, and then the report comes to us where we get to know 8 आपके skills जो हैं उसमें आपका level क्या है. So what are these 8 skills? What is your emotional literacy level? इमोशनल लिटरेसी मतलब कि आप कितने लिटरेट हो, इमोशनल अवेयरनेस कितनी है, आप आइडेंटिफाई कितने अच्छे से कर सकते हो इमोशंस को, आप उनको समझ सकते हो क्या, उनकी इंटेंसिटी आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हो, उसका आपका उसके पीछे का मैसेज क्या है, वो आपको समझ में आ रहा है क्या, क्यों आपको ये इमोशन आया है. सो जस्ट आइडेंटिफाइंग सेल्फ अवेयरनेस ऑफ दैट इमोशन. क्योंकि आप जान के हैरान होंगे कि देयर आर सो मेनी इमोशनल वर्ड्स, 4000 इन इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज आई वुड से, एंड हम जब यूज करने चाहते हैं हमारी वोकैबुलरी में 20-30 से ज्यादा आते ही नहीं है वर्ड्स. तो मतलब कि हमारा इमोशनल लिटरेसी लेवल कहाँ तक है. सो दीज थिंग्स कैन बी असेस्ड कि इमोशनल लिटरेसी कैसी है. सेकेंड पॉइंट इज यू गेट टू नो अबाउट द पैटर्न्स. आपके पैटर्न्स कैसे हैं, क्या आप अपने आप को समझ पा रहे हो. आई गेट एंग्री एंड आई शाउट, ये मेरा पैटर्न है. सो इफ आई एम एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई, ओनली देन आई विल डिसाइड टू चेंज इट, or I don't want to change it, I'll decide it. So ये identification awareness का part again comes from this. So ये दो चीजें आती हैं हमारी एक skill पहली वाली. Then comes very important one, navigating emotions. I get angry. So what do I do with this anger? How do I deal with it? I don't want to behave out in a bad way. So what do I do with that anger? So वो navigate कैसे करना emotions, that is one skill. Applying consequential thinking. सो इम्पोर्टेंट स्किल फॉर दीज ऑल चिल्ड्रन जिनकी हम अभी बातें कर रहे हैं कि डिसीजन कैसे लेना, हाउ डू यू एसेस, सो अप्लाइंग कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल थिंकिंग इज अनदर स्किल. देन ऑप्टिमिज्म स्किल, हाउ टू एक्सरसाइज योर ऑप्टिमिज्म, दैट इज अनदर स्किल. एंड देन हमने जो अभी बात किया इसके बारे में, मोटिवेशन, हाउ डू यू
Yeah.
एंगेज योर इंट्रिंसिक मोटिवेशन, कि चाह हो आपको वो चीज करने की. तो ये 4 स्किल्स अगेन मेजर किए जाते हैं. तो फर्स्ट 2, these 4, and then the last 2 ones are empathy, how good you are in empathizing with your people around you, and your noble goals. तो ये सब के levels आते हैं. So based on that we get an assessment कि this is where we stand, these are the skills which are our strengths, and these are so-called our weaknesses, and how do we balance them and pull them together so that we can achieve our success factors. That is how this assessment is done. This is a self-assessment report, but there are also others like ability testing report वगैरह, ऐसे बहुत सारे आपको मिलेंगे. So, but I am trained in this, so I can talk very fluently and nicely about this one.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, and you also you drew parallel the pathology report. That like
Yeah,
pathology report, you also get certain pointers, and that
correct.
then now what to do. Right. Very good. Very good. So uh, okay. So Roshni, it's been like 1 hour that we've been talking
Oh,
about it. It was a fantastic masterclass. Let me tell you. Okay, I have learned so much today. But I mean, as a human, I want something, you should give us, okay, so that we can also try out our own learnings, try and maybe research a little bit more about it. So if you can give
yeah,
us some resources, some tools, okay, where I can go and maybe learn more about it. If you can give us some YouTube channels or maybe some books or some tools or websites, our audience will explore those. Okay, and in case if they want more knowledge about it, maybe of course they can connect with you. Yeah.
sure, definitely, sir. There's so much resources nowadays that is available. Let me tell you, if you go for the websites, 6 Seconds is having its own website in which we have parenting free courses available. We have some basic emotional intelligence knowledge that you can get even from there. So you can refer to that site of 6 Seconds. Then Authentic Happiness is another very good site where you get good skills learning from that. Books, the people who are interested in reading, the person who started this concept, I would say a revolutionary person, Daniel Goleman. So उनकी बहुत सारी books हैं. Start with the basic one, which is about emotional intelligence का basics, then workplace emotional intelligence, focus, negative destructive emotions. ऐसे बहुत सारे books Daniel Goleman के हैं. They are again a good reference point. Someone who wants to learn about optimism, Martin Seligman की बहुत अच्छी book है on optimism. If you want to learn about impulse control, marshmallow test की book है proper, that can be done. We also have emotional intelligence 2.0, अगर आपने देखी है तो that is another book that is available. So resources का तो भंडार है. EQ Inside Out, again a very good book that is there which gives you all the skills that I've mentioned you. ये 6 seconds की तरफ से आती है. तो all the skills का the techniques, what you should apply, the tools that you should apply so that you can improvise on your skills. So wonderful resources that are available. I hope it helps people to, explore them.
Yes, 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 yes. And I think apart from this, even the Paul Ekman's
Oh,
Emotional Atlas,
yes.
Atlas of Emotion, that
Yeah.
website is also amazing. Yeah,
Amazing.
you can actually see those, what, I mean, Roshni talked about 4,000 emotions. You can actually see the various shades of your emotion. So anger doesn't happen in one go, it always on a
Ah,
built-up stage. So there's so much to learn. So
right.
thank you. Thank you so much, Roshni. I mean, no wonder they consider emotional intelligence or EQ as a success predictor, right? Research is actually telling us that as much as 85% of our life success can come from emotional intelligence,
Wow.
right?
Very true. Very
Emotional
true.
intelligence means happy brain. If you have a happy brain, you have a happy life, you have a happy career, you have a happy relationship, you have a happy community, you have a happy country. Yeah, we all must start working towards that, and it's very, very important in today's time when we have so many stimuli that makes us stressful, that under such chaotic situation or under such chaos, how do you remain happy? So I hope you all liked today's session. I
So
am
can I end
abs.
with
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
one small
Yes,
negative and
yes,
one
yes.
positive note?
Oh,
So,
sure,
but
sure, sure, sure.
the negative note that I want to share with you, but because it's very important that we know the negativity also around us. So
Right.
recently, to 2024, the state of heart report has come, which is again from the 6 seconds, where
Hmm.
they as all these assessments that we do, they see what is the global trend that is going on. And unfortunately, in last 5 years, EQ has dropped by 5 to 6%. Emotional intelligence is showing a drop. That means in navigating emotions, in setting goals, in optimism, we all as human generation or human beings are going low. And this is going to be a danger situation. जैसे वो रिसेशन हुआ था ना एक बार हमारा इकोनॉमिक रिसेशन, अभी हम बोल रहे हैं कि इमोशनल रिसेशन के फील्ड में हैं हम लोग. सो ये इमोशनल रिसेशन से फाइट करने के लिए वी ऑल नीड टू रियली reboot ourselves to being more emotionally intelligent. That is one thing. And second thing, that the good note that I wanted to end on is that there's a good study from Harvard where they have been tracking people who are Harvard educated for several years. And when
Yes.
these people were questioned about happiness, because at the end, you, me, why are we studying? Why are we working? What are we doing? Everything is about being happy and being successful. So when this so-called top educated people who were asked that what is their idea about success and what is the time in their life when they felt very happy, because this study went off for 70 odd years. So अगर उनको पूछा गया, so was it your financial success, was it when you were at the top of your ranking that you were very happy? So the end result was कि maximum लोगों ने बोला no, our relationships gave us happiness. So we all need to value our relationships while we are developing ourselves as successful people in life, in careers. We also need to develop our relationships and value and keep them together. So that's the note that I wanted to end on. Thank you so much for
Actually,
having me.
yes, yes, and I just would like to add to what you say. So, what Dr. Roshni is trying to say is that though we all are run for materialistic success, okay, that doesn't make us happy. That's a big, big, big takeaway. See, even if I may work for Mercedes and Mercedes will come to you, but I don't know whether Mercedes will really give you happiness, right? Okay. So with that note, thank you so much, Dr. Roshni. Thank you for your
Thanks.
time. I know you have a you have a practice. This is the time you need to be in the hospital, but still you took us the time and gave us this wonderful, wonderful masterclass. So thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
audience, that was from Dr. Roshni. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time with yet another exciting topic. I hope you enjoyed all. Thank you very much.